And we have been keeping you up to date all week on the state Senate voting on the appropriations bill, which today has failed again. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis breaks it all down.
With an unlimited amount of times it can be voted on during the legislative session, the governor's office will continue to push lawmakers to approve the prison bill. But so far, the votes aren't there. I want you to take a look at this. The first time the bill went to the Senate floor, there were 10 votes against it. Here are the lawmakers who voted, including Senator Stubblefield, who represents the area. Then the very next day, 3 more lawmakers voted against the appropriations bill, including Senators Clark, Kroll, Hickey, and Sullivan, who were either non-voting or present on Tuesday's vote. But Senator Sullivan changed his yes vote to a no vote yesterday, which leads to today, when again the Senate floor addressed the funding for the prison. And again, it failed, but with 11 votes. This time, Senator Clark changing to a yes vote and Senator Payton changing to present, which means it's a non-vote. But even though the votes aren't there, that's not stopping the Arkansas Board of Corrections from moving forward. Ahead of that Senate vote Thursday afternoon,
cast up the ballot by a vote of 19 yea, 11 nay, 4 present. Senate Bill 354 fails.
The Arkansas Board of Corrections met to discuss prison plans despite the funding bill failing 3 times. Thursday morning, the board unanimously approved the preliminary schedule for approving contractors and the request for proposals for a general contractor for the new prison. The request for proposals detailed the required guidelines contractors interested in bidding for the new prison must meet. It's important to note Veneer Construction has been confirmed as the managing contractor for the entire project, but other smaller contractors for design and engineering are welcome to apply for specific roles. They also agreed that any change to the budget over $250,000 would need to be pre-approved and voted on by the board. The approved schedule says contractors can begin submitting proposals on April 8th. They also confirmed the Board of Corrections for the new facility will include a representative from the governor and the Arkansas Board of Corrections. Morgan, an emergency clause for the bill also failed right after the funding vote.
So it's my understanding that clause makes it so legislation can take effect immediately after signed into law, right?
That's exactly right. The clause would let the bill avoid the 90-day wait period once the legislative session is over. The emergency clause was an effort to speed along that process for the prison, but with the bill failing 3 times and the disapproval of this provision, whether or not this prison will advance is a waiting game.
All right, thanks, Kayla. Well, happening now in Fort Smith, the first night of the Levitt Music Series is getting underway, and it is happening in downtown Fort Smith at the Majestic. This is a live look there right now, and if you're wondering where 5 News anchor Darren Bobb is, he's there for tonight's festivities. Brothers Maven is tonight's headliner. They're playing some American soul music. And here's a look at the full lineup of concerts for the Levitt Amp Music Series. Shows will be happening in the next 4 weeks, and you can find the full schedule on our website, 5newsonline.com. Well, today, dozens of Northwest Arkansas nonprofits participated in NWA Gives, a 12-hour fundraising campaign aiming to connect organizations with donors. 5 News reporter Jose Carranza spoke with 2 groups whose missions depend on community support.
Turning generosity into action, this year's NWA Gives campaign is empowering organizations to make a difference. The Call in Northwest Arkansas supports over 400 children currently in the foster care system across Northwest Arkansas.
The Call exists to recruit, train, and then support foster families, ultimately supporting the children who are in foster care here in Northwest Arkansas.
The Call provides resources for foster families ranging from diapers, clothing, and meals. They also offer visitation space for biological families to connect with their children.
The community involvement is key to us. We have many church and business partnerships that we could not exist without.
Meanwhile, across town, NWA Equality is also participating, but facing additional challenges.
The political climate right now has had a lot of businesses rethinking the way they're doing things, which means that they've either stopped giving to us or decreased how much they wanted to give this year or gave other stipulations around how we would use the money.
NWA Equality organizes the NWA Pride Parade and offers year-round resources like HIV testing and community peer groups.
We provide some really great resources for the community, from peer groups, really amping up our kind of whole health arm. We've got HIV testing, we've got these social events such as Out and About each month, but then Pride.
Now, it's up to the community to help NWA Equality continue with a $40,000 funding gap.
It's super important that we all stay engaged and continue to support any organizations that have our best interests in mind. Because if we don't, there are plenty of other people out there that are ready to be loud in order to erase us. And so we have to be loud back to remind them that we're not going anywhere.
Covering news where you live, Jose Carranza, 5 News.